YouTube, what's going on? It's Tijon, aka Top Cyberdog, and I'm back with another brand new video. Actually, I know it's been a while since I posted my last video, but it's been for good reason. I was out of town or out of the country attending one of my best friend's weddings. I got to be the best man in that, so I've been busy. Also, I'm still working hard in ECA. If you guys don't know, I've been a student in that for going on 6 months plus, and I'm headed into my third capstone involving Splunk Source. So I've been very busy with planning that out and getting that pitch ready. So I've been knee deep in a lot of things, security and IT as a whole. Also, I've been interviewing as well. Made it to the final round in a few different interview stages for various companies. Didn't get it, which was a shock and hurt to my pride and system as a whole, but it just wasn't my door to walk through. So we're gonna continue doing the work and keep waiting until we get that call. Like Uncle Elroy said in Friday.
Knocking? I feel you. Well, let me in.
You know, you feel me knocking, let me in. And I feel like that's what I'm doing right now. I'm knocking on that cybersecurity door, so to speak, and I'm just waiting for my moment to be let in. But in order to make that transition, you got to prepare, and I truly believe the separation is in the preparation. So that's what we're doing now. I remember in my last video I said that I was pretty much done with LetsDefend as a whole and moving my talents to try hack me, and that's what I've done. But I've also missed LetsDefend, so I recently rejoined LetsDefend, and I've gotten right back into the SOC and tackling alerts as they come. So that's what we're gonna handle in this video. We're gonna hop into LetsDefend, select us an alert, and get right back into it. Thank you guys for rocking out with me. This community that we've been building up so far on this channel has been tremendous, and I couldn't have been more fortunate and blessed to have this channel and, you know, be able to document my journey and helping others that are across the world looking to get into cybersecurity and not knowing how to go about it. So by no means is my path the, for sure path, but it's a way that somebody can look as a documented path of how somebody can elevate themselves into cybersecurity. So it's been a blessing, but without further ado, we're gonna hop right into it. All right, let's go. All right, welcome back, you guys. Welcome back to myself. We are back in LetsDefend, and we are live right here in LetsDefend's SOC area. And as you can see, we have plenty of alerts to go through. Just to get my feet wet again, I thought about let's go for not something easy, because anything we investigate can be pretty difficult, but something that I'm familiar with. So let's go with a phishing attack. I was thinking of this one right here that took place on October the 29th, back in 2020. And we have EventID 27 with the event time of October 29th, 2020 at 7:25 p.m. And we have the SMTP address of 146.56.209.252. And then we have a source address of ndt@zol.co.zw, which is very odd, but we'll make note of that for later. The destination address of Susie@letsdefend.io, that is our internal employee. And we have an email subject of UPS, your package's status has changed, which already reads weird. So that's almost a red flag for me right away. And then we have a device action of blocked. So our security system for the corporation has blocked this specific email from reaching our user's mailbox. Whether that should have happened or not, we have to investigate to verify, but we'll go ahead and do the work. So like I always like to say, for investigations, go ahead and open up a Word document where you can then copy everything regarding this event, so we can do easy analysis across different tabs up above, just so we have a clean slate of as far as what we have going on, what we've investigated, and then any notes that we might have, so we can add that to our analyst notes at the end of our investigation. All right, so right away, that SMT address, go ahead and copy that. And right off the bat, before we do that, let's slow it down. So we need to take ownership of this record. And I'm used to saying record because that's what we use at my IT job rather than ticket. So if you hear me say record, I'm just referring to a ticket. All right, so that ticket that we have taken ownership of has now landed into our investigation channel. And now we need to go ahead and create a case for it so we can then begin the work and then add notes to it as we go through our case. So now we have created the case for EventID 27. And now we're brought to case management, where then we can go through a playbook. And essentially what that is different steps you can take for a certain event that happens in our environment. So essentially we don't make mistakes in everything that our organization is expecting to see as far as our investigation is done, because we have a playbook to follow. So always be aware that an organization might not have a playbook or any kind of run book. So you might have to do this from your own knowledge of investigating different events. So sometimes an organization might not have a playbook and you might have to be on your own as far as investigating, or sometimes that playbook might not be as robust, where you then have to do extra steps or extra plays to complete that investigation. So let's go ahead and start the playbook. All right. And this is another one, as it's asking us to parse the email. We already have that saved in a Word document, so it's already at an eye's glance for us. So we already know when it was sent. We have the SMTP address, the sender's address, our recipient of Susie at LetsDefend.io, and we need to investigate the actual mail content to see if it is truly suspicious. There might be an attachment. We don't know. So that's the first play. We have all that logged in our notes. We can move on to the next play. All right. Are there any attachments or URLs in the email? So if you notice right here, we have some tabs. We need to go ahead and go over to email security. So I already have that tab opened up. And what we can do is copy the email subject. And there might be other emails in our, there's other emails that are similar as far as the subject. So just make sure we're choosing the right one. As we can see, that top one is the email that we need to investigate. And if you can see right here, it says final action allowed. I believe it was allowed in Susie's mailbox, but the SIM blocked it. So let's click on that. And we see more details as far as the contents. You have received a secure message from Veterans United employee. Click below link by this date to read your message. After that, open attachment. All right, so there is no attachment per se, but there's a link. So we don't want to interact with this link on our host machine, but we'll definitely log that in our notes for further investigation. All right, so already this doesn't look too good. We have an outside email that is communicating with our internal employee, telling them to visit a link and then open an attachment. And for those of you who don't know, attacks can be sent very easily this way, as far as sending people fake messages promising certain things or certain kind of documents. They open it on their endpoint, and then malware is downloaded onto the device. The bad guy then has a possible connection with their C2 address to that endpoint, where they can then control it and then run various other attacks spread out to other devices on our network, and it can get really tricky and hairy. So you never want to interact with any kind of attachment, or any kind of link you're unaware of in your environment. That's when you want to reach out to your security department to ask questions. There's never a dumb question, but you have to ask so groups can be aware, especially if it goes undetected. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back. And one thing it's asking us, does it contain an attachment? No. Or URL? It does. So we'll go ahead for the second play and hit yes. Now we want to go to some outside sources such as AnyRun, VirusTotal, URL scan, hybrid analysis to check the reputation of those artifacts that we found. So we'll go ahead and go to VirusTotal, and we'll go ahead and paste in that SMT address. And we can already see it hasn't been flagged by VirusTotal yet, but we do see that it's coming out of China. As the last was analyzed 29 days ago. Now, the reason why this is important is because, say for instance, our organization should have no dealings with any kind of IP address coming from the country of China. We know right off the bat, hey, this is a no-go. We shouldn't even be communicating with IP addresses in that area. Shouldn't be happening. So that's an automatic red flag. Hey, we got IPs coming from China. We shouldn't even be talking with devices in China. So that's already a tail sign that this is most likely a malicious attack. So we'll make note that that SMTP address is coming out of China. And say for instance we want to check that IP address on another platform, such as let's say for instance Joe Sandbox. Joe Sandbox might flag this IP as malicious as far as what their vendors say the IP has been seen doing across the web. So just because VirusTotal says it's not malicious doesn't mean it's truly not malicious. Something else we can do while we're already here on VirusTotal is copy and paste that link that was included in our email. Ooh. And that has been flagged by 10 security vendors out of 97. Last analyzed 16 days ago. All right. Okay, perfect. So that has been flagged as malicious. And a website we can go to is urlscan.io, which is perfect for trying to get a visualization of what that URL displays once you access it or attempt to access it. So I'll go ahead and do a public scan. And it looks like we cannot access the address. And I'm gonna see if we can just cut that link down and just access the main URL. If it'll let me. Might still be thinking, okay, refresh. Public scan. Okay, it's not working. So the link isn't accessible, which is okay, but it's something to note. I want to go back to VirusTotal now, and I'm just curious if we can okay, so this is the source address domain. Alright, it's not seeing anything for that. But based off of what we've seen for the link in that it's coming out of China, I will say that this is malicious. Let's see if we want to do anything else. URL scan. Let's check your house as well. I'm just curious what other platforms are saying. That's the good thing about being an analyst. You have to check multiple sources to make intelligent, informed decisions. All right, and we see our house has that link that is included in our alert or in our email as malware URL. It's currently offline. It's been tagged as a doc, emotet. Alright, and as you can see, you are currently viewing the URL house database entry for our URL, which is being or has been used to serve malware. Alright, and then we get a bigger breakdown of that address, the data that was added, and when it was last online. It looks like it wasn't online for a long period of time. Excuse me. And the overall threat was to download malware. We see a couple other platforms have blocked it, some haven't. And then we can see the user who reported the actual link. And then we can see how long it was taken down, as far as the amount of time it was up and then taken down. So 3 days. And then we can see all of the payloads that URL was attempting to deliver. And we can see a whole bunch of various different weirdly named documents. So it looks like these are Word documents. Okay. All good stuff so far. Is that gonna load? No, it's not gonna load. Okay, that's cool. Alright, so without question, I'm going to mark this as malicious. Now, next play is check if mail delivered to user. Answer the following question by determining whether the email is delivered by looking at device action, part of the alert details. Now, like I was saying earlier, device action, when you actually visit the email, says aloud. But if we go to our alert, device action is blocked. So I'm going to say that this was not delivered because our overall alert that was sent to us, a SOC analyst, says blocked. So that is a tell sign that that was not successfully delivered to our user. Now, if I'm wrong, it's a learning lesson. But to my knowledge, after working these previous alerts on LetsDefend, that is the go-to. So what we can do is begin putting in our artifacts to wrap up this alert. We got the sender. But okay, we need to copy that. And also remember, best practice, we want to defang all of our artifacts that could potentially be accessible to others that might be looking at this alert, this investigation that we're putting together. So definitely defang everything that you are submitting. Do that. URL. And we'll copy that SMTP. Go ahead and defang that as well. So I believe that is all the artifacts that we have to input. Now is the fun part as far as breaking down what we've done, what we've investigated, and the conclusion that we've made with our investigation. All right, so on October 29th, and I'm just going to be off screen typing up the rest of our analyst notes. I'll go ahead and speed this up in post, hopefully. So on October 29th, 2020 at 7:25 p.m., our SOC alerted on a phishing email sent to one of our users. The user, Susie. All right, so we have that jotted down, and pretty much just overviewing what we observed, that our user Susie received an email that was masquerading to be a UPS tracking email of sorts. They were being told to access a URL that would then allow them to download some kind of attachment. That attachment, in hindsight, would then allow malware to be passed on to their endpoint, most likely through a Word document of sorts, and then furthering the threat actor's attack. That SFT address was also linked to China, and I don't have a guaranteed, hey, LetsDefend can't work with any kind of endpoint in China, but a lot of the times United States organizations have no dealings interacting with certain countries' IP addresses, and I know China's a big one, especially the amount of different APT groups that come out of that region. So if you have no business dealings over in China, you shouldn't really be seeing any kind of network activity from that region. All right, so we're going to copy that one more time because I know it's going to come up again. I don't care about Grammarly right now. I'll go ahead and finish the playbook. Once we finish the playbook, we're brought back to the investigation channel where we then see our alert again. And this time we can close the alert. So I would say this is a true positive. Even though it didn't make it to our employees' mailbox through our own protection systems, it's definitely still something that was malicious, and it wasn't benign or a false positive. So we'll go ahead and paste in the same notes that we had. We'll close it out and see how we did. Oh, back on that streak. Now, don't expect me to be how it was previously with almost a year's worth of daily streaks. I'm not too much into that anymore, but definitely want to make sure we're doing the work every day as far as bettering ourselves. So, you see at the very top. Oh, did it just log me out? Hold on. Let's check how we did before we close out this video now. All right, we'll go back to practice and closed alerts. Event 27. Boom. See our alert. We got everything right. And that's it for this one. So as you guys seen, we went through a pretty basic phishing email, but phishing emails usually are the bread and butter of any kind of SOC. Our users are our weakest point, so phishing emails are a lot of the time what we observe is what we observe as far as attacks happening on a frequent basis. You know, different users have different levels of understanding on how phishing works and different attacks that might be presented to them. So this is a big one, even though the severity is very low. So make sure you stay on top of your phishing investigation skills because they vary. So thank you guys for sticking with me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And once again, I appreciate all the support as we're heading into our 1,000 subscribers on this channel. So I appreciate all the love. We're going to just keep doing the work. All right, you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.